Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Deputy Minister Designate, Ambassador Dankwa, Directors of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I also acknowledge Mr. Jefferson from the Presidency, and each and every one of you here present, distinguished friends from the media. I'm pleased to address you this morning on two topics as enumerated by the Minister for Foreign Affairs. The first is on the mid-year statutory meetings of Ecowas. And these meetings will be held here in Accra from tomorrow, Tuesday, the 15th of June, to Saturday, the 19th of June. Let me at the outset thank Honorable Minister for Information for providing us with this platform to inform Ghanaians about the forthcoming meetings. Minister, I believe that at some point the police will brief us, if not today, before the summit at least, on the movements of people, because we're expecting about 15 heads of state to be with us on Friday and Saturday. But coming back to the meetings, they are scheduled as follows. First, the 46th ordinary meeting of the Ecowas Mediation and Security Council at the ministerial level, which will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, 15th of June. The second meeting will be the 86th ordinary session of the Ecowas Council of Ministers, which will be held on the 16th and 17th of June 2021. I believe that would be on Wednesday and Thursday this week. And then last and most important will be the 59th ordinary session of the Authority of Heads of State and Government, which will be held on Saturday, the 19th of June, 2021. While the first two meetings will be held at the Movenpick Hotel, the Summit of Heads of State and Government is scheduled to be held at the Kempinski Hotel. The sessions being held this week follow the 29th ordinary session of the Administration and Finance Committee, AFC, whose outcomes will inform the work of the Council of Ministers. The AFC is made up of experts from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Finance of ECOWAS member states. They met at the Alisa Hotel from the 8th to the 12th of June 2021. In line with the practice of ECOWAS, the sessions this week will deliberate on important regional matters germane to our community, including recent political and security developments that have threatened the peace and stability in our region. The agenda for the sessions will focus on the progress of ECOWAS institutional reforms, ECOWAS Vision 2050, the status of tasks assigned by the 85th Ordinary Session of the Council of Ministers, the ECOWAS African Research and Innovation Forum, FARI, as well as the humanitarian situation in our region, amongst others. The Council of Ministers will also consider and adopt the following. 1. A report of the activities of the ECOWAS Ministers of Trade and Industry. 2. A report of the Ministerial Committee on Single Currency and a New Convergence Pact. 3. The Regional Flood Risk Initiative Management Strategy. And 4. Gender Strategy and Action Plan for Disaster Reduction. I'd also like to furnish you with some information regarding the expected participation. It is expected that all heads of state and government of ECOWAS, with the exception of Mali, will participate in the summit. Also, the President of the Commission, the Vice President, all commissioners and support staff of the ECOWAS Commission will be part of the meetings. They are already in Accra ahead of these meetings. Other guests will be the former President of the Republic of Nigeria and ECOWAS Special Envoy and Mediator on Mali, His Excellency Goodluck Jonathan. And he will be here essentially to present a report on the current situation in Mali. As we are all aware, following the suspension of Mali from ECOWAS institutions, he was still tasked to help Mali stay on track towards the agreed transition towards the expected end of getting Mali to return to democracy. That is elections, electing a parliament, electing a president by the end of February 2022. So he will be presenting a report on his latest working visit to Mali, which was last week. At the end of the summit, a communique will be issued on the decisions that the summit reaches. So that is it for the ECOWAS meetings that will be held this week. And this summit will be an ordinary summit. ECOWAS meets twice a year, at the very beginning of the year and in the middle of the year. So this is the second ordinary summit. My next briefing will be on Ghana's successful bid for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council for the period January 2022 to December 2023. So it's for a 2-year period. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to say a few words about it. We have been elected by the United Nations General Assembly last Friday, the 11th of June, onto the Council, the Security Council, for the period January 22 to December 23. Ghana was the endorsed ECOWAS candidate to the Security Council. 3 candidates are always on the Security Council from Africa. Of the 3 candidates, ECOWAS always is represented. So there's 1 candidate from the ECOWAS region, and then there are 2 other candidates from the 4 other regions. So you have Central and Northern Africa electing 1 or endorsing 1 candidate, and then you have Eastern and Southern Africa also endorsing 1 candidate. And these 3 candidates will be sent to the UN General Assembly where elections are held. Our sessions this week will have significant interlinkages with our role and responsibilities on the Security Council. We chose a theme for our tenure on the Security Council, and our theme is enhancing global peace and security for sustainable and inclusive development. We believe this reflects the vision of ECOWAS to ensure a peaceful and resilient environment for the economic well-being of all our people, so all the community citizens. I wish to express gratitude to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for his leadership at the regional, continental, and global levels. This has been key to the goodwill that Ghana enjoys in the United Nations. Also, I wish to acknowledge his key role, the role he played in campaigning for support for our candidacy. I'd also like to use this opportunity to thank staff at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, and also the staff in our missions in New York and elsewhere who put in hard work for our success. Indeed, nothing demonstrates the scale of our achievement than the fact that Ghana received the highest number of votes, 185 votes, out of the 190 votes in the room during the elections. And we are very proud of the fact that Ghana still leads the pack of African countries on the international scene. I'd also like to express my deepest appreciation to the Ghanaian people and foreign partners for their overwhelming positive reaction to our successful election to the Council. The overwhelming support for Africa confirms the trust we enjoy from member states and their confidence in our contribution to the work of the Security Council over the next 2 years. Our membership is an opportunity to bring our values, experiences, expertise, and influence to bear on the work of the UN in addressing the challenges confronting our world today. And such challenges include violent extremism, terrorism, malicious cyber threats, illicit trafficking of arms, to mention a few. Success in the maintenance of peace and security is key to achieving the SDGs, especially in our region and in our country. We will also use our tenure on the Security Council to advance stronger and deeper collaboration and cooperation between the United Nations and regional bodies in a manner that enhances complementarity, ensure effectiveness of coordinated action, and strengthen burden sharing arrangements with the United Nations in order to mobilize increased financial support for our regional and continental initiatives and peace-building missions. Membership of the Security Council brings both tangible and intangible benefits for Ghana. The pathways that open for close collaboration with development partners and the opportunities to deepen cooperation with key players and actors in the international community should contribute to the ongoing work to achieve our Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. Like I said, there are real and tangible benefits linked to our national interests. We will, at the Council, during our tenure, influence discussions on international peace and security, especially those that affect our continent and West Africa specifically. About 70% of the agenda on the Security Council regrettably relates to Africa. Our being there on the Council will positively influence decisions and actions for the resolution of conflicts on the continent. I give the example of Mali. We have first-hand information. We have been involved. Ghana has been involved. The President has been involved as Ecowas chair and also as a key member of the African Union. We will, with the experience that we have gathered, sit at the table and not expect that countries that have nothing to do with Africa will take decisions for Africa. But we will be there to bring the African, West African perspectives. It will also open the space for Africa to focus on economic development and continental prosperity, which will be offered by the AFCFTA. So we believe that our being there will also contribute to the discussion on Africa, our coming together to put in place this free trade area, and how other countries can help us to take advantage of this free trade area for our fast and unimpeded growth. For us, this is also important. Also, of course, peace on the continent is one of the areas that we believe our being on the Security Council will help us to talk about and push the agenda for peace, because we believe there's a clear linkage between peace and development, sustainable development. If we do not have peace, if we do not have a secure Africa, an Africa that is secure, Africa that Africa with where we have silenced the guns, where we'll be able to say that yes, everything is peaceful in terms of violent extremism, in terms of terrorism. We all know what is happening in the Sahel region in terms of terrorism and how it is affecting the countries in our parts of the continent, especially in West Africa. How countries like Ghana, countries like Cote d'Ivoire, countries like Togo and Benin are sitting on tenterhooks because you don't know when any of these will become our reality in terms of the activities of these terrorists. So our being there will influence the conversation. Our being there will influence and bring solutions to some of these problems. The other thing is the fact that Ghana is on the list of troop and police contributing countries in terms of peacekeeping. We are number 10, the whole world on the list. So our membership will also help us to influence peacekeeping mandate instructions so that the peace support operations will be in a manner that enhances the operational effectiveness of peacekeepers and also will assure the safety of peacekeepers. So we have a stake, we are stakeholders. And these matters are discussed at the Security Council. We need to be there to represent West Africa, but also represent our own country and our interest. Also, it will enable, our being on the Security Council will enable Ghana to strongly advocate enhanced partnerships between the UN, the United Nations, and regional institutions such as the African Union and Ecowas for regional peace support operations, and also to make sure that there is equitable burden sharing, including financial support to prevent conflicts. We also need to rebalance maintenance of international peace and security, and also need to focus attention on the prevention of conflict. So we are going to be there. For us, it is not just about peacekeeping, not just about fighting fire, which is fighting conflicts, but also preventing conflict and also managing. The management of conflicts is very important for us. And then, of course, the reconstruction of countries that have been plagued by conflicts. Also, we will be a voice on global matters of concern. One such matter of concern for all developing countries, especially for Africa, is the equitable access to vaccines. It is a shame that as we speak, the vaccines that were promised to Africa with a population of 1.2 billion, we have not, as a continent, received anything more than 15 million. Ghana has received 600,000 plus 350,000, so less than 1 million from COVAX. And we believe that it is important because no one is safe until everyone is safe. Today, most of our countries, you have the wherewithal to procure vaccines, but you cannot get the vaccines to buy. Today, we do not manufacture any vaccines on the continent, unfortunately. We were relying on India, unfortunately, because they had their own issues in the upsurge, the spike. All the reliance was we were not able to realize any purchases from India. And this is not just Ghana, the whole of the continent. So equitable access to vaccines is very important. It's one of the issues that we are going to push for on the Security Council, that we need to be able to manufacture our own vaccines in Africa. Issues of climate change, that's a big one. We in West Africa know what's happening in the Sahel. We know what's happening in the Lake Chad Basin, the Congo Basin. Lake Chad today is 10% of its capacity. As a result, you have movements of people, displaced people in millions. And this in itself is creating conflict because the same number of people with a reduced capacity of the lake, it means that people have to scramble for access to water. People have moved away across borders in West Africa, coming towards us. You see the nomads with their cattle and the movements and what it brings. We all see the effects of climate change, desertification, droughts, erratic rain patterns. So these are all issues that, although we are not creating the conditions that negatively impact the climate in this continent, we bear the brunt of the negative effects. These matters are going to be, or are issues that are before the Security Council, and we will bring the West African perspectives. Women and youth in sustaining peace. These are also important matters that are discussed at the Security Council. The issue of women when there is conflict, when there are issues that disturb the peace of any nation, is the women and children who suffer. Then on the other hand, you have the issue of the youth and the need for the youth in our continent. The youth form the bulk of our populations, and if we do not create the necessary environment through job creation and so on, they become, it becomes easy for these terrorists and so on to radicalize them and also to recruit them. So all of these are things that we need to have a voice on and to show the African perspectives, because unlike the developed, what you call the developed world, where they have an aging population, we have a youthful population, and our perspectives are very, very necessary. Otherwise, it will escape everybody. Issues of public health, on international peace, all these things we need to discuss. Health, our economies, the effects of COVID and the need for us to see what can be done on the world stage, bring it onto the agenda, high up onto the agenda for solutions to be found to these problems. So these are some of the benefits, and of course, the most important is the influence of Ghana is going to soar very high, and that in itself will bring us benefits, the material benefits that we all find very important. Without these things, without us having a voice, if we do not present our voice, the voice of Africa, the perspectives of Africa, nobody is going to listen to us, because the world has become a place where everybody is looking after his or her own. So influence of Ghana on the world stage will bring the material benefits, foreign direct investment, all the positive things that will help our economic development. This is the basis for that kind of addition. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. It's a good time to take questions for you. So, colleagues, as we do, we take them in batches of 4, and we will wrap up when we are done. I know Honourable Minister is multilingual as well, so you can try a few languages and then we'll see. After all, this is a foreign affairs brief, so try and speak French. Try and speak French.
Putting me on the spot.
GNA, let's start with you. So let's take the microphone to GNA, and then let's start from there.
Thank you, Honorable. I really like the position of Ghana using its position to push for the manufacture of COVID vaccines in Africa. I think it's a very good initiative. But I want to find out, since we have just 2 years to be there, do you have any timeline that you expect UN to grant us that opportunity for Africa to start manufacturing its vaccines? Then 2, Ghana has been to this UN Security Council before in the past, and the issue of terrorism, extremism, humanitarian issues still persist in Africa and Ecowas. What are you going to do differently this time around to make sure that these things are eradicated from Africa and Ecowas?
But you acknowledge that the last time we were there, those were not the dominant issues at the time. These are quite recent issues that are now escalating. But your question still stands. Just wanted to share that information with all of those who are watching us. Thank you. So what are we going to do differently to ensure, or what are we going to do to ensure that the issues of insurgency and insecurity are decisively dealt with? Colleagues, are there any other questions? The ladies, you know we are biased towards you. If you have questions. Yes, Abednego.
Good morning. Good morning, the Chief Diplomat. Your friend Abednego Asante, me Admo FM. My question is, sir, Ghana election to UN Security Council. Now, Bobo Nema will be but in person me find out and say, I saw my Ghana no, and for so many Benya, a Krumha. And I feel so COVID-19 vaccines, President ni address now, can I say, put a team together, working on it, say, obetima hwese ebi betima manufacture we ni bi wo ha na say nzo betima my update how far science share na akwakosi. And then the Africa Continental Free Trade Area no UNDP and Ghana Statistical Service and GIZ omu ye some survey bia wo hwe agribusiness and as a business is our country less than 10% crowd what idea about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Also, I'm going to hear research,
UNDP, Ghana Statistical Service.
And GSS, yeah.
GSS, and GIZ, a partnership with them. You see, we say most of the businesses, almost knew about the African Continental Free Trade. Until at the end, she shared and put in place, almost you host a headquarters where I bet my benefits and my economy. At my career,
yes, yeah, that was it. I'll come to Honourable Minister to take responses. Honourable.
manufacture of vaccines, timelines. It is linked to Abednego's first question on the team put together by the president. Let me say that indeed there's a team that has been put together. A lot of work has been done by the team on the manufacturing of vaccines, as well as coming up with our own vaccine. I must say that when we were at the European Union in Brussels not too long ago, they gave us indication that they're looking at some countries that will be supported to manufacture vaccines. And the case was made that Ghana should be one of those countries. So it's being looked at. But in terms of timelines, I'm not able to give you timelines because this is not my area, so I cannot give you detailed information on it, but I can assure you that a lot is being done in this area and that Ghana is being looked at as one of the countries for manufacturing of vaccines because already the president has a team in place and they are looking at not just the manufacturing but also coming up with our own vaccines. But what this opportunity on the Security Council gives us is to make our voices heard and also to ensure that Africa is taking seriously that it is not right that Africa, the whole of Africa, a continent of 1.2 billion people, we do not have a vaccine, a manufacturing facility for vaccines supported or under the aegis of the Africa CDC, or even in the case of West Africa under West Africa Health Organization. So these are being looked at, and it is important that we bring our voice to the table, that it cannot continue like this. We have been told that this is not the last pandemic. This is not the last virus that we will be encountering as humans, but there will be other viruses that will plague humankind. And so we must be prepared. Africa must be prepared. The whole of Africa we were all depending on the Serum Institute in India, and today we are not able to get what we were expecting, what COVAX was expecting. It's important that we also are giving the intellectual rights to be able to manufacture our own vaccines. Minister for Information mentioned, and that is true, that when we were last at the Security Council, the issues of terrorism, violent extremism, and conflicts were not major issues. Today, they are major issues. And like I said, with the experience that we have in managing conflicts, you take the example of the President's initiative, which is the Accra Initiative, bringing together the countries in West Africa that are likely to be affected by terrorism, violent extremism, etc. He's been able to do something that has been lacking, which is sharing of information, sharing of intelligence, to be able to work together to stem these ills that plague us as West Africa. So all these experiences, I gave the example of what we've done, the president has done in Mali, and how we are shepherding the process towards back to democratic rule. All these are experiences that will be useful because we can give them first-hand information, so that it is not like some people sitting somewhere, some big powers sitting at the UN Security Council and handing down all kinds of solutions to problems. The solutions might not solve the problems. African problems have to be solved by Africa. So our voice there will be very important. AFCFTA, that less than 10% of our local businesses are aware. I'm surprised. I know for a fact that many of our local businesses are aware of the AFCFTA, and the Ministry of Trade, they have done a great job holding workshops from time to time for the different brackets of businesses to educate them on the AFCFTA, how they can take advantage of it. For us, this is very important because we cannot have the Secretariat here and not benefit. So they have a national office, and what they've done is to ensure that they are engaging at the very lowest level. When I say lowest level, I'm talking about even small-scale enterprises, how they can take it. Already, I know that some of our businesses are taking advantage of it because trading has actually started. But they will continue to do what they have to do to make sure that we benefit. And the Ministry of Trade are very much engaged.
Minister, I think those will be the key questions.
Yeah.
We're only hoping that you would just answer the question of benefits in tree, for the benefit of the tree stations. I know your tree is excellent, so...
Let me try. Abednego. So...
So is English.
Ehun faswo ye Ghana ya wini bid say ye be call Security Council no so no. Ehun faswo ba ko ne say yen as a country ye uranki yen wo peacekeeping operations ye ranking number 10 the whole world. Inti bibia ebeboa na ye peacekeepers. Can't you help me with this?
They are not minister.
Peace support. Otherwise, I'll just continue in English.
Okay, so you say it in English quickly. I'll sum it up in chief.
Okay, so it will help us influence peacekeeping mandate instructions, also peace support operations, so that they are more effective because they affect us directly as a country. We are number 10 on the list of peacekeeping. Also, Usha says 70% of insemina echo onto the Security Council. No, in somewhere efa Ghana in some to do with peace, security. Efa enya Ghana, sorry, efa Africa ho. Ehu hia say Africa for so ye betena table no ho na yenso ye de yadwen aba na ya kasa yeso ye kasa na yeso ya can be because ye na ade no fire ho nti se bibi fa wo ho a esese wo so wo ho na wo so wayiwa no na se bibi a no aka na o the solutions so aba to the issues
at stake. Mr. If you're in Kumasi, they will say Piao. I think you are done. The answer is quite clear. We'll take a very final batch. We'll take a very final batch of questions. Nancy, did I see your hand up? Okay, so Nancy, are there any takers? Colleagues, I won't come back after this round. Are there any takers?
Minister, if you ask me to speak in, can you see how
I know, right? My guy is worse than your tree. Nancy, let's take you.
Yes, my name is Nancy Vokania from TV3. We would like to know the current condition of Ghana-Russia diplomatic relations. But also, I would also want to know if the Foreign Ministry took charge or led the government's efforts to procure Sputnik V vaccines from Russia, and what the role of the ministry was in what some quarters have described as procuring overpriced vaccines. Thank you.
That'll be it for our questions this morning. Minister will wrap up on this point for us. Minister, some brief comments on this.
Thank you very much. Current condition of Ghana's relations with Russia, excellent. We have no problems whatsoever with Russia. Now, when it comes to engagements concerning say, procurement or whatever. The first step is the foreign ministry engaging the embassy here, because Russia is represented by an ambassador. I had discussions with the Russian ambassador on Ghana's desire to purchase vaccines from Russia. Actually, it wasn't just Russia, but we did so with the Chinese as well, also with the Indians. Let's put it in this context, that it is difficult, extremely so, even if you have money to procure vaccines from the source. It is almost impossible. Because just as Ghana is looking for vaccines to buy, all nations are also looking for vaccines to buy. And so it becomes quite difficult to get vaccines even from the source. But I can assure you that we made contact and we still continue to pursue getting the vaccines. It has not been easy at all. Not just for Ghana, but for any of our countries, and not just for Africa, but also for other countries around the world. Whether we were involved, yes, from the beginning we were involved, but I can assure you that it is difficult to procure vaccines directly from manufacturers. And I'll give you an example. The example of India. His Excellency the President actually made calls at his level. I made calls at my level. Apart from speaking to the High Commissioner, I made calls at my level. It was just impossible to get these vaccines. So that's what I can say. This is what you asked me, my involvement. But whatever decision government takes, the responsibility is all of us. So it's a collective responsibility, and it's a collective decision that was taken. And government will only take that decision if all avenues are closed to it. But we continue to pursue the purchase of vaccines from the source. But I can assure you that it's almost impossible. I speak with foreign ministers around the world. I know that health ministers around the world are all frustrated. Very much so. And it looks like until all the big countries are able to vaccinate their populations and then free whatever to COVAX, it's going to be difficult. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. And that's why you made the point earlier that even the vaccine equity conversation is part of the things that Ghana seeks to bring onto the international platform. Minister, I want to thank you that you've made time this morning. We know you just arrived from New York quite recently, but you have made time to be with us this morning and to answer questions and to speak to the country on these two briefs. We want to thank you. Colleagues, later during the week, so as Minister takes her seat, let me inform you that later during the week, the Ghana Police Service, MTTD, will join us, and they will give us a quick update of what this means for traffic flow and what kind of cooperation we are all required to bring to bear so that we have a smooth summit this week in Accra. I want to thank you for being with us this morning, and we'll wish you all the best. I think on Wednesday we shall re-engage with you for some other briefs. Minister, thank you so much, and congratulations once again.